Prime Minister says no need to panic over debt levels. Minister says 37 million Kina TFF payment before term 1 ends. And land queries dominate Parliament discussions.
This is National EMTV News with Mary Bartolo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Wednesday's news. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill says there is no need to panic over the country's debt levels. He was responding to questions by Deputy Opposition Leader Sam Basil during question time in Parliament this morning. Mr. O'Neill said PNG's borrowing is within the Fiscal Responsibilities Act and is lower than that of many other countries.
The turnout in Parliament this morning was better than yesterday's poor attendance, which resulted in the adjournment of the sitting to today. It was back to business as usual as Mr. Basil asked the Prime Minister to disclose where the country's total debt level stands at. His question follows funding drawdown for the ADB Highlands Region Road Improvement Investment Program and the World Bank's recently approved credit of 223 million kina to PNG to support the country's water sector.
Mr. Speaker, mi plau pushentu mi plau warilo dinau mak do Papua New Guinea. Now, this latest dinau government kisin emi come up close to 300 million. Question blome mosem mi plau pushen like sawe ina Prime Minister talk straight lo this 300 million dinau now go and by edi go on top lo current dinau blo Papua New Guinea stop enough to clear amas dinau mak Papua New Guinea carry at the moment.
Mr. O'Neill said there was no need for panic because PNG's loan status is within the limit, which is 30% below GDP. This is according to the Fiscal Responsibilities Act. He said the leadership summit this week revealed that PNG's debt levels were lower than those of many other countries in the region.
So, Mr. Speaker, there is no need to panic. We need to continue to borrow money to build roads, build infrastructure, build schools, build hospitals. And most of them are concessional loans, Mr. Speaker. Concessional loans meaning that less than 2%, sometimes 1.7, 1.5% interest rates have been paid over a very long period of time. Mipla tasol, PNG tasols are borrowing money over the line of plan the world. Even the next government will borrow money to do this.
Mr. O'Neill also responded to Mr. Basil's second question on whether or not the government will take out more loans before the issue of REITs.
Mr. Speaker, lo side lo sim nupla lo nogat, nipla yenogat bonpla plan or lo sim nupla loan, nipla is stop within the limits blo the Fiscal Responsibilities Act, where Emi talk clear or some loan blo yumi must stop below 30% of GDP. We are within the limit, Mr. Speaker, and we are within the limit, in fact, much better than many countries around the world.
The Prime Minister commended the Fiscal Responsibilities Act, which limits PNG's borrowings to 30% of GDP and places the country in a better position compared to other countries who take out loans. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
The much-debated tuition fee-free policy was raised again in Parliament today. Minister responsible, Nick Kuman, says the balance of 37 million kina will be paid before term 1 ends. He told Parliament the current economic strain has slowed down the payout to schools around the country.
Responding to questions from South Bougainville MP Timothy Masiu and Northern Governor Gary Jufa, the Education Minister clearly outlined plans to pay the remaining balance of 37 million kina to schools in the country.
And I want to make sure that it is paid before the school closes its door on the first term. And this is the government's commitment that for next term we will pay upfront.
Despite reiterating that the TFF policy is functioning positively, Northern Governor Gary Jufa denounced the implementation of the policy. He says some schools are pushed to the extreme by forcing parents to pay certain fees.
And in many instances throughout the entire country, TFF is simply not reaching the schools on time. So let us not mislead Parliament by stating that it is working very well. Let's be realistic and say that it's a project in progress.
For South Bougainville MP Timothy Masiu, the slow process of payment by the Education Department is the cause of delay for most schools receiving the TFF fund.
Suppose you got some talk one time ABG Minister long education long discussing this issue. Not too long one time by all TFF long all schools belong inside of South Bougainville and we reach more schools.
According to Minister Kuman, a total of 105 million kina has been paid to schools for 2017. The balance of 37 million kina remains. Schools are now in the 9th week with only 2 weeks left before term 2 begins. Jack Lapava Jr. National, EMTV News.
Still on the TFF issue, following today's parliament session, Deputy Opposition Leader Sam Basil added that the alternative government would cut back on unnecessary infrastructure spending and fund the TFF policy in full every year.
How will we pay on time is that we will make sure that we don't initiate into unnecessary infrastructure spending unbudgeted like what the current government is doing in Port Moresby City. That is where all the education money is. That is where all the health money is being spent. And the government is now does not have cash flow to make sure that they pay on time. So we will make it even better than this current government. We pay on time and we will give 100% to schools, and we will make sure that we hold the school board chairman and the headmaster. We will make sure that we will hold them responsible on any mismanagement of those funds, and we will make sure that auditors checks every schools every quarter so that all the funds that has been dispersed are spent properly for schools. That's the better thing that the opposition will do. And I think we will do it better than the government.
There were more land questions for Lands Minister Benny Allen in Parliament today. The queries involved the selling of government land in Lae and customary land in Popondetta being converted into an SABL.
Why? I ask.
Lae MP Lujaya Koza brought the latest sale of government land and property to the attention of the Lands Minister.
As of the 21st of March, Lands Minister, whether you were aware or not, the compounds of the National Archives, the Forestry Department and Works in Lae, their respective compounds, were sold out to a businessman. And they were given notice to evict the property, and the notice was given on the 21st of March. Why, I ask on behalf of the people of Lae, and how, through you, Mr. Speaker, was this important piece of government land, 3 pieces, was sold, and are there provisions now, through you, Mr. Speaker, for these staff to be adequately housed elsewhere, and where, as there is no new land available in Lae? How come the tenants did not know?
It was something the Lands Minister was not aware of.
I do not have any idea on the questions that the honourable member has raised, or I would like the member to give me those information so that I can get my information from the department and report to the Parliament on the questions.
Northern Governor Gary Juffa raised a recent deal in the Oro province that involves the controversial special agriculture business lease.
There, in regards to an area of land in Oro province known as the Musa Pongani area, where almost 300,000 hectares of land have been prepared for an SABL to be issued, facilitated by officers in lands and the Department of Agriculture and Forestry. They are being facilitated to be sold to a Malaysian businessman.
To this, the minister repeated the same line, that the government has already cancelled all SABLs in the country and stopped any more new ones to be created.
If we have to issue an SABL lease, it will be illegal. Mr. Speaker, I would ask the governor to give me the specific portion of land, and I will find out if some of the officers in the department are assisting that group to issue that.
Minister, are you aware of what is happening in regards to the issuance of permits, licenses, etc. for new SABLs? Do you have in place in your organization an investigative capacity to investigate this type of issues of land grabbing that are proliferating the entire nation, everywhere, it seems? And if not, then why not? And what are you going to do about developing such a capacity?
Yes, we do send officers to investigate those complaints from landowners or complaints from anyone concerning land.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Kairukuhiri MP Peter Isoaimo also asked the Prime Minister if he was deviating from his commitment to ensure the Manu Manu land matter is properly dealt with.
Is the good Prime Minister deviating from his original intention and undertaking that he will establish a commission of inquiry to look into this land issue? Number two is that does he still stand by his undertaking also that he will return my people's land?
Postman Kua lawyers went to the Supreme Court and got an order to say that commissions of inquiries in this country are illegal. Now that matter has been challenged in court, and while it is in court, we cannot establish a commission of inquiry. There is a fact. This is an order from the Supreme Court. But that does not mean that we cannot have an inquiry continuing. So that is why we have put in an administrative inquiry to establish the facts on why systems of government has fallen apart, why officers of government have compromised themselves. That is why the administrative inquiry is going. But Mr. Speaker, the police are also doing their own investigation. Police are continuing their own investigation. They are well advanced, and they will make their own decisions very soon. And at the same time, the Ombudsman Commission is also making their own investigation. So the matter is certainly not over. The second one on the issue about returning the land to the people who are living there, it has been a state land for a long, long time. But the settlers who are there, who are settling on that land, Mr. Speaker, I have made a commitment in this Parliament that we will return where they are settling back to the landowners. So it is now the Department of Lands to identify which areas can be returned to the landowners, and I can assure the honourable member that this government will honour that commitment.
The opposition has called on the Speaker of Parliament to cancel lunch hour in tomorrow's session to allow for debate. Deputy Leader Sam Basil says politicians should sacrifice 2 hours of their lunch break to discuss issues affecting the people. Parliament was late to start after lunch today.
Parliament delayed for nearly an hour and went into lunch early. Lunch was nearly 2 hours. The Deputy Opposition Leader wants that to change tomorrow.
I would like to suggest to the Honourable Speaker, Member for Finsafen, Theodore Jurenwok, to try and make sure that we skip lunch from tomorrow's session to Friday. We must not go for lunch because like today we only had an hour of session, and then we went for lunch for 2 hours, and we were supposed to come back at 2 o'clock, and nobody was interested in coming back for 2 o'clock sessions.
The opposition says they want to debate on the ICAC bill and other laws that still have to be changed. Attorney General Ano Pala says his department is responsible for that. But the opposition says they need to debate bills on the floor of Parliament and that lunch hours are just too long.
We've wasted the lunchtime today, and I suggest that tomorrow the Honourable Minister must ask the government, leader of government business to put forward the ICAC bill. We also have some very important bills introduced by the Governor of New Ireland about land and ownership. It's still sitting on the notice paper waiting for the second and the third reading. We also have other important amendments to the register of political party bills. Those are to strengthen the political parties to make sure that members wins after election. They must stick with their party, and it will make party become an institution. Those are very important bills that we have to...
We now have to wait and see if the Speaker does cancel lunch tomorrow to allow for debates. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. 2 Papua New Guineans stranded in West Papua, businessman Ermas Wartoto sent to jail, and Seventh-day Adventist visit to Mount Hagen. Those stories and more after these messages. Welcome back to the news. An attempt by a Danish adventurer and his 2 Papua New Guinean companions to circumnavigate the island of New Guinea in a traditional canoe has been hit by a funding delay. Thor Jensen sent a video appeal from Fak on the West Papuan coast, calling on their sponsor, the Sundown provincial government, to pay the much-needed funds. Jensen and his Milne Bay companions, Sana Koli and Justin John, have been waiting in Indonesia for 5 months now.
So far, it's been an adventure of epic proportions. 3 men attempting to circumnavigate the island of New Guinea in a canoe complete with 2 master sailors from Tawali in the Milne Bay province. Each step of the way filmed and photographed using cell phones.
Maybe you can see some glare on the mountainside there.
Taking documentary filmmaking to a whole new level. The conditions have been unforgiving. The men crossing over into Indonesian waters in the middle of the monsoon season. The trio is led by Danish adventurer Thor Jensen.
Hey!
His 2 Papua New Guinean companions, Milne Bay brothers, Sana Koli and Justin John. They've already gone past the halfway mark around the tip of the West Papuan coast into Fak.
Now it's almost 6 o'clock. Great, finally we can sail.
But they're facing serious funding challenges.
The last 2 months we've been fighting against the northwest monsoon, and the only reason why we are standing here today is because these 2 guys are such incredible sailors.
Late yesterday, Thor Jensen sent this video appealing to their sponsor, the Sundown provincial government, to pay the funds promised to them when they were in Vanimo 5 months ago.
Our great problem now is that we have no more funding. We've been promised funding almost 5 months ago by the West Sepik government, and very generous of them, and we're very thankful, but we haven't received that funding yet, and now we're really struggling.
The journey began in 2016 on a canoe built using traditional methods. While the men are in high spirits, they would like to have the journey completed by August, when they hope to reach Tawali, where they started last year. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Lae.
Businessman Eramas Wartoto has been transported to the Bomana prison outside Port Moresby. This came after the Waigani National Court found him guilty for misappropriating over 6 million kina. The verdict was handed down by Justice George Manuhu this afternoon before a packed crowd. Wartoto's bail was forfeited and he will remain at the Bomana prison pending the decision on his sentence. A body of an elderly woman was found early this morning in the Bumbu River in Lae. Nearby residents found her body at around 4 o'clock this morning and reported it to police. Lae Metropolitan Commander, Chief Superintendent Anthony Wagambi, says from reports police gathered, she resides at Talia compound. Police were at the scene to retrieve the body. An investigation is being carried out to find out the cause of her death.
Early this morning, residents living along the Bumbu River and nearby settlements went to the river to identify the dead body. She was found in the river by residents who went down to the river to use the stream. Police were at the scene to retrieve the body. Wagambi says from initial investigation carried out by the criminal investigation personnel, she was seen with a known male last night. What happened next will be revealed as soon as investigations are completed. Police are appealing for people with any information to come forward and assist them. The identified person who was with her last night will be picked up for questioning as soon as police locate him. This incident is one of several that have happened along the Bumbu River. Last year, at least 3 bodies were found along the river. Martha Lewis, National EMTV News, Lae.
Lae police have caught 1 suspect involved in the armed robbery of Rebtrad last Saturday. Lae Metropolitan Commander Anthony Wagambi says the suspect was identified on CCTV footage. He was later apprehended during an early morning raid at his residence. The suspect is on a national court bail for another armed robbery last year. Aggrieved NID staff have raised concerns over a delay in outstanding wages. Following a sit-in protest on the 3rd of March over the matter, the Department of Community Development agreed to work with the National Planning and Monitoring Department to settle the payments. The NID staff, now struggling to make ends meet, claim they have not been paid anything.
Teakane Enokau represents close to 30 civil registry officers who have been left to ravage in debt because of the delay. This is the 7th house he has moved to since 2015 because he and his family were evicted for not paying rent consistently.
When they demand rental fees, when I can't be able to pay up the rental fees, they said, okay, vacate the land, give me the notice, vacation notice, so I have to leave the place and then look for a new place to reside.
2 of his children, a boy and a girl, have been denied education since 2015 when they claim their wages became inconsistent because he hasn't been able to afford sending them to school since. His wife has resorted to selling water on 4-mile streets to make ends meet. In a day, she earns about 30 kina, just enough to get her small family by. John Mark suffers a similar fate, but his wife and children have left him. He now lives with relatives at a 4-mile settlement.
If Dilala Gore and Charles Abel were in our shoes, how would they feel when they the owner of the house, they expect money and they want rental fees and school fees and...
Father Tay, as he is known around the office, made an ardent appeal to the departments concerned.
Suppose me play no pain, but me play work nothing all this time. Me play
Their spokesperson, Martin Kurupani, has indicated they feel the Civil and Identity Registry Office is largely responsible. Registrar General of the office in question, Dixon Kiragi, was quoted by the National on March 3rd, saying that they were among other casuals who had been laid off. This was their response.
It's about 5 years now, we being treated as casuals, and we've been working as casuals under this Office of Civil Identity Registry and NID. And I don't know when they're going to put a structure in place that we're going to be permanent officers.
The NID staff concerned say they continue to work despite their misgivings about the outstanding payments, but are appealing to the higher authorities to honor their commitment. Melissa Goviro, National EMTV News.
The world evangelist from the Seventh-day Adventist Church in America, Pastor Doug Batchelor, arrived in Mount Hagen yesterday for a week-long evangelistic meeting. The meeting brought together more than 100,000 Seventh-day Adventists and a new interest from at least 12 provinces in Papua New Guinea. Pastor Doug will be preaching about the last-day events and politics.
Pastor Doug Batchelor arrived yesterday in Mount Hagen with wife Karen and his TV crew from his television series Amazing Facts. They were given standing ovation from Kagamuga International Airport all the way to Confirm Hati, where the meeting is held. Over 100,000 faithfuls braved the heavy downpour to take a glimpse of the guest speaker. Pastor Doug is an author, evangelist, and the director of Amazing Facts, an evangelistic ministry that focuses on the three angels' message.
First, I want to thank you for the wonderful welcome that we've received. And I'm hoping that these showers from heaven are a symbol of the showers of the Spirit that God is going to send us this week.
Also present to welcome the guest speaker was opposition leader Don Pollier, who is also a member of the church. Pollier said PNG lacks stewardship and wiseful decision of resources. He urged Pastor Doug to grace the country with his message to guide the people to make informed decisions.
We believe the answer to saving this country and the world lies in Jesus Christ. And therefore the word that you will be preaching to us will be not just any other ordinary message, Pastor, Pastor, the message that you've been preaching through your amazing facts ministry, you've done a lot of work throughout the world, but this particular message that you've been giving us is very strategic for us, for Papua New Guineans.
The faithfuls were in Mount Hagen since March 20th and will end on April 4th. The gathering will be to prepare the church members for the election period so that they can make good choices in voting and to avoid getting involved in troublemaking. It is also to prepare them for their spiritual strength. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
The Taurama Aquatic Center this afternoon played host to members from the mining sector, swapping their field gear for something more informal, exercise gear. All this in the name of promoting a healthy lifestyle as part of National Mine Safety Week 2017. Hosted by Newcrest and International SOS, the exercise and meet and greet session was one way of putting into action the theory of a healthy lifestyle. For Newcrest General Manager Government Relations, Borne Isana, the opportunity to relax, albeit for a few hours, doing activities that are helpful to the body, is all part of Newcrest's overall message of safety.
Yes, it is really. It's all about safety. The discussion that we had, about 30 minutes, each day to actually work. If you're going to keep lifestyle and all these things, has got to be integrated, not only with work, but outside the office, to actually demonstrate the seriousness of safety.
The fitness session concluded 3 days of activities in commemorating National Mine Safety Week 2017, and it certainly was a hit with participants. And now a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3145 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3070 $0.3995 Australian dollars, €0.2818 and 33.87 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, cocoa and copper closed the day lower. Crude oil closed higher, while palm oil and copper closed the day lower. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed 150 points higher, the ASX closed 52 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed 50 points higher. PNGDF Commander Brigadier General Gilbert Toropo says 2017 will be a year of leadership and a new generation party convention. Those stories coming up next. Welcome back to the news. Over 100 top-ranked PNGDF officers have gathered today in Port Moresby for the 2017 PNGDF Commanders Conference. PNGDF Commander Brigadier General Gilbert Toropo, in his opening remarks, announced 2017 will be a year of leadership within the Defence Force organization.
Since taking the commander's post in 2014, Brigadier General Gilbert Toropo has been on a mission to uplift and develop the PNG Defence Force. And the Commanders' Conference is the avenue where defence officers throughout the country gather and discuss ways on improving the organization. This morning's conference saw the commander announcing 2017 as a year of leadership. He says it is important that leadership is maintained in all ranks so that core tasks set in the 2013 Defence White Paper can be achieved. He highlighted 3 priority areas for 2017: force sustainability and growth, rebuild and relocation, and branch priorities. Participating in church activities and physical fitness programs will be some of the major activities the Defence Force will carry out this year, apart from major operations like the coming general elections. The conference started today and will end on Friday. Stanley Ovett Jr., National EMTV News.
New Generation Party held their national convention yesterday to announce their policies and candidates. They announced that 70 candidates will be running on the NGP ticket in the coming election. NGP has a party constitution and structured policies, and it plans to implement if they form government.
New Generation Party will be going into election for the 3rd time around, with the first national convention held at the home district of their party leader and member for Goroka, Biriki Misopa. The convention began with their executive elections, announced their nominees and their policies and statements the party will be releasing.
At the end of our conference, I'll be quite privileged and honored to be able to deliver with consultation from you delegates and members our principal 4 key statements that will take into the elections. This will form the convention statements which will be issued by the New Generation Party.
Party leader Biri Kimisopa told the party nominees that the party was for the next generation and that the nominees must think of their children and what they would want for them.
You are the same thing. We're a family for children, we are a family party. That's why this gathering and this convention will address a number of issues.
70 nominees were announced to run under NGP. The party will be releasing 14 statements on their stand on different issues affecting the country, while one statement will be dedicated to the father of the nation, Sir Michael Somare, to thank and farewell him as he leads active politics.
The life of Sir Michael Somare as a new generation party, we will pay homage to him and we'll highlight a few important points in terms of his contribution to the country and the legacy he will leave behind. I believe personally that there's a scarring on the national landscape or the national character of this country, and we ought to fix it.
The first time the party ran in 2007 under the leadership of Bart Philemon, they won 10 seats. In 2012, they won 3 seats. But unfortunately today, one candidate and now the party leader, member for Goroka, Biri Kimisopa, remains until Goroka goes to polls in June. Adelaide Xerox Kari National, MTV News, Goroka.
A ward councillor in Nawaib District, Morobe Province, has raised serious concerns about the number of names missing on the electoral rolls. Maclay Esoke said in his ward area alone, the names of more than 1,200 eligible voters were missing. He also said the number of registration forms sent from Port Moresby were inadequate. National MTV News. Up next, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. In football, Papua New Guinea has defeated Tahiti 2-1 in the return FIFA Oceania Stage 2 World Cup qualifier. A Patrick Isa header in the 60th minute and a strike by Raymond Gonemba in the 75th saw PNG take valuable points. The win now places Papua New Guinea in a good position with 2 more matches to be played in order to qualify top of Group B in their World Cup qualifying campaign. Congratulations to the couples. The SP PNGA Hunters will travel to Mackay this weekend to play the Mackay Cutters in their Intrust Super Cup Round 5 clash. The Hunters tasted their first loss of the season last week and will be looking to get back into winning form.
The Hunters will leave for Mackay on Thursday, but depending on the status of Cyclone Derby in North Queensland, the Queensland Rugby League will decide whether the match will go ahead or not.
If you don't travel due to the cyclone, and then the next thing is we have to see whether Mackay is in line with our draw.
If they decide to call off the match, both teams will receive 1 point each.
Mackay are playing at that time too, so. And if that's not going to happen, then it's going to be a split 1 point each. So that's going to come down to that. So
if they do play, Michael Marum has made some positional changes to the team. Israel Eleb will start in the centres, while captain Aseboas moves into the 5'8" position, and brother Watson Boas starts at halfback.
Watson came off the bench last weekend. He probably, did well during his time on the field. And that's why we decided to just maybe start him with his brother Ase. They played together last year, so hopefully they can steer the team around with the side last year.
Blander Bavu shifts to fullback and Stagroth Amin on the wing. Carl Kauna Jr. starts on the other wing. Redley Brower becomes Hunter number 52 when he starts off the bench. Wellington Albert has been sidelined for 2 weeks by the QRL judiciary after he was cited for a shoulder charge. Moses Meninga was cleared of the lifting charge and will start in the second row alongside Nixon Put.
Yeah, Wellington, unlucky for him. He got cited against the South Slogan. Again, last weekend he got the shoulder charge. He was placed on report, so he's got 2 match ban. And that's 350 points there. So we decided to go for the early plea.
Marum says despite the terrible loss in round 4, the team have remained positive all throughout the week.
We started training. There was a lot of talking, and basically what we're telling them, just forget about what people are saying outside. Okay, you concentrate on what we're doing here, because no one's. We never said we were going to be in all our home games back here or be in all our away games. So every game we understand is going to be tough for us. Any team that's coming up here to play us, a win for them is a big bonus for them. So.
Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
Former Hunter and Kumul Brandy Peter was spotted training with the Hunters yesterday. He was released from the team earlier this year during the Hunters pre-season after failing fitness tests. There is a possibility of the forward making a return to the team.
Yeah, no, he's been back. He's been sending messages to me. I told him, okay, like when I released those players during pre-season, I basically told them, okay, you need to work, get your fitness right, get back in. The team is always going to be here for, we allow you guys to come back, but okay, as long as you go back, do the right thing. He decided to leave. We sort of helped him a bit, sent him down to South Slogan Magpies. Didn't work out well down there, so he's back here. And I just asked him to come and do a fitness test on him, see how his fitness is. And he did 2 tests today. And from there, I'll speak to the chairman and CEO and see if we can get him a contract, and then I'll put him through a 5 or 4, 6 weeks program, fitness program, and we monitor him from there. So, and like I said, okay, his fitness needs to be the same as these boys.
Gaba Gaba village in the Central Province today launched its 3-day volleyball tournament that has teams coming from Hiri East, Rigo Coast and Rigo Central. A total of 42 teams made their presence known today in the opening matches, and in the next 2 days, the competition is expected to see accelerating action.
The volleyball competition was an initiative brought forward by the Gaba Gaba community and supported by Central Province Governor Kila Hauda. With a total cash prize of 10,000 kina up for grabs, the teams playing in pools A, B and C will see a heated competition as all 42 teams vie for the Super 6. The women's division have a total of 14 teams, while the men's have a massive group with 28 teams. Tournament director Joe Killer said this is also an opportunity to encourage unity among the Motuan villages. He added volleyball is not a seasonal sport in Gaba Gaba, but with the massive turnout and participation, the prospect of carrying out seasonal competition looks promising. Dinero Straiko, National EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. 2015 Pacific Games gold medalist Nigel Bana has told EMTV Sports training and preparations are going well for the Oceania Karate Championships to be staged in Sydney next week. This will be his second Oceania event and is also an Olympic qualifier.
Winning gold in the 60 kilograms division for Papua New Guinea in Team Kata, Nigel Bana was not afraid to show EMTV some of his latest moves and techniques.
Monday, Wednesday, I normally do my strength and conditioning here with Coach Christie, and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I do my match session over at Sir John Guy Stadium in the complex. Actually, I think I will be flying out on Tuesday for the Olympic qualifiers, which will fall on the April 7th. So after this one week from now, Olympic qualifiers, which is the Oceania Olympic qualifiers, and then followed by Australian Open and come back again.
Nigel said attending this year's Oceania Championships is not his first time and already has a new game plan. Nigel says he started training for the event a while back with an aim to qualify at the Oceania event for the Japan Olympics.
Training has been good. PNG Karate President Sensei Kalmari has been very helpful in terms of telling the coaches whenever I'm free, making schedules and stuff like that, so that I could make use of all my free times here and also at the dojo as well. First time was in 2014 where I got a silver in team kata together with Cosmas and Leonard, 2014, before the Pacific Games. Basically, I'll be going in with a new game plan. The Pacific Games, a lot of competitors that came here, most of the scores that I scored was with the legs, scoring with hands. This time I'm thinking of changing it around, maybe a lot more hands or a lot more takedowns, throw and stuff like that.
Not only is he looking forward to Oceania Championships, he also has his sights set on the Mini Pacific Games in Vanuatu in December this year. The Oceania Championships will be a week-long event in Sydney and will start on the 7th of April. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
To canoe racing, the Puka Temu Cup was launched today by Keleone Canoe Racing Syndicate at the Lamana Hotel to start off the 2017 season. Chairman Ian Kapi said the canoe racing competition started a decade ago, and since then, locals on the Aroma Coast have embraced this tournament.
Chairman of the Keleone Canoe Syndicate, Ian Kapi, said the people of Aroma Coast are looking forward to participating in this year's Puka Temu Cup canoe competition.
Initially, we started off self-funded, and we're raising funds within a group to sustain this event. And as the years went by, we became more and more, we got bigger, and the racing events increased in number.
He said the event started 10 years back before it was sponsored by local MP Sep Puka Temu in 2015. Today's launch at the Lamana Hotel was to start the 2017 season for the canoe associations to get ready for the competition.
Canoe racing is very important to the livelihood of the people of Aroma Coast. It is a traditional sport, and people take part in it, and they have pride in sustaining the sport.
Representing the office of Sep Puka, Ma'arina Rolu said Sep Puka grew up with the sport and will continue his support in one way or another.
Canoe racing is Sep Puka's favorite sport in Abau district. Actually, it's not only in Abau district, but probably in other districts, other parts of Central Province. And he loves the sport very much. And as a result, when the request by Keleone Canoe Racing Syndicate came in, he didn't hesitate. He just straight away got up and said, "I'll support them." And as you can see, this cup here, this is going to be the final one, which whoever that wins this cup will go to him.
The Keleone Canoe Syndicate will host the competition this Friday on the Aroma Coast in the Central Province. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
The Football Federation of Papua New Guinea, the breakaway association from PNG-FA, has nominated new executives to head its competition. Former president of the PNG Football Association, Madiu Andrew, has been named as interim chairman of their National Premier League. Andrew, who was president of PNG-FA from 2000 to 2004, has been tasked with spearheading the 12-team competition. Alongside Andrew, former rugby personality Sailosi Druma has been appointed head of the competition. And that ends Trukai Sports for today. Up next, your weather details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Here's a quick look at the weather over the next 24 hours in the southern region. Mostly fine in Alatau, Port Moresby, Daru, Kerma and Papaneta. You can expect some rain. To the Mombasa region, cloudy and showers in Lae and Madang, cloudy with rain in Wewak and Vanimo, cloudy with showers in Wau. To the New Guinea Islands region, cloudy and rain in Lorengau, cloudy in Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul, cloudy with some showers in Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, all these major centers can expect some cloudy weather with rain over the next 24 hours. And there is a strong wind warning current for all coastal waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerama, to Yule Island and to Hood Point. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerama, Yule Island and Hood Point seas 2.5 to 3 meters.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
And to end the news, a recap of our main stories tonight. Prime Minister says no need to panic over debt levels. Education Minister says 37 million kina TFF payment before term 1 ends. And land queries dominate Parliament discussions. And that has been the news, sports and weather for tonight. On behalf of the EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.